Lips, yeah. Can't touch my lips now. But you know, the Paul, what's his name, back years and years ago when he died, he had shoe boxes. Yeah, when he's Southern Illinois guy.
only 3 nursing homes. Colonial, the old Colonial, McElwain, and everything else is prepaid.
I believe it's 17 people at the house.
I would like to call to order the Tuesday, November 21st, 2023 meeting of the Danville City Council. Roll call to establish a quorum, please, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Ricky Williams Jr.,
Present.
Alderman Ed Butler,
Present.
Heidi Wilson, Carolyn Wands,
Present.
James Bouchard,
Present.
Mike O'Kane,
Here.
Bob Iverson,
Here.
Mike Poor,
Present.
Rick Streeting, Sherry Pickering,
Here.
Eve Ludwig,
Present.
Tricia Teague, Robert Williams,
Here.
Darren York,
Here.
John Cooper,
Here.
12 present.
12 present. We do have a quorum. At this time, we will have the invocation led by Alderman James Bouchard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderwoman Ludwig. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you again for the opportunity to come before you, Lord, to discuss the businesses of this city of Danville. We just pray that every person in attendance, Lord, realizes the business that needs to be done at hand. And Father, we just ask that every person that's an alderman and the mayor and those in head departments, Father, that they understand also, and the Father, that the business that we take care of is, we vote on is, we think is the best for the city of Danville. And Father, we just give you thanks for what's been going on in our city. Been a lot of promotions, a lot of great things happening, and we give you thanks and honor and prayer for it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here with us this evening. This time we will have the approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes of November 17th, 2023. I'm sorry. I've said November 7th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. You also have an agenda before you this evening. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. I do not have any proclamations or board committee or personnel appointments this evening. Are there any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions? Seeing none, I do have a couple of items of information for you. I just want to make sure that everyone knows of a couple of big things that are going on, hosted by the city of Danville, or that we are in support of. Number one, we will have our lighting ceremony. I think it's our 3rd annual lighting ceremony this Friday at 5:30 downtown. So come on down and get some free hot chocolate, watch us light up the lights and sing carols. That will start at 5:30. Then Small Business Saturday downtown Danville is happening on DDI. Downtown Danville Incorporated is putting that on. So a lot of the shops are doing special promotions and things like that. So we hope you'll go downtown and support our small businesses. Then the following week, we have our annual Night of Lights Parade on December 1st. That's at 6:00 p.m. We have over 65 registrations now. And so we hope to see you all down. That's a lot of fun. That will start at 6 p.m. And then last but not least, and we'll make another announcement at the next council meeting, but we have the annual Holiday Bazaar. Lots of great vendors at Harrison Park Clubhouse on December 8th and 9th. On Friday the 8th, they will be there from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then on Saturday the 9th, they'll be there from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we have a lot of great things coming up, and we hope you'll come out and have some fun with us. At this time, I would like to open the public hearing on the 2023 proposed property tax levy. Madam Clerk, is there anyone here who wish to speak on the tax levy?
I have no cards for that.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak either in favor or in opposition to the tax levy? Just as a reminder, we are proposing taking the same amount that we did last year with the projected increases in value. That will likely mean a lower rate than even last year. So is there anyone? Yes, Mr. Hawker. Please state your name and.
Thank you. Jerry Hawker, 207 Payne Avenue. I would just like to thank the mayor and the council for coming in with the same tax levy. I fought very hard on the county board to keep them at the same, but they decided that they wanted to raise theirs by 4.99%. And I just want to say thank you because the public and the taxpayers in this area are just hit too hard. So I appreciate you doing that for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hawker. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor of and opposition to the proposed tax levy? Comptroller Massey?
Just on DDI when you're ready.
Oh, yes. Also, just as a reminder, that does include downtown Danville and the special service areas. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of or against the DDI levy or the special services area? All right, seeing none, we will close the hearing. Madam Clerk, at this time, we'll receive any petitions, communications, and audience comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Has everyone had a chance to fill out a yellow card who wishes to speak this evening? Okay, when I call your name, please come to the microphone at the podium, and I'll give you 3 minutes to speak. First, I have Greg Thatcher of Danville regarding demolition off or on-street parking.
Okay, Greg Thatcher, 428 Oak Street, Danville. This theme for the incoming new year is going to be tired and 25 years. I know that you're attempting to tear down the house across the street, but it's something we've had to deal with for 27 years, the mold, the mildew, and the neighbors. So they come and tell them that they have to move their vehicles off of now what would be considered city property because the city owns half of the vacated alley and they own half of the vacated alley. So I'm told that I have to be the bad cop. I'm the one that has to call on them because they park the homeless encampment on the street in front of our house. Nothing new. Parking on either the side of the driveway for over 25 years, 27 years. Street sweepers can't clean the streets. Snow plows can't properly plow the streets. You got to do better. It's going to be 2024. You need to put your thinking caps on and figure something out. So, long story short, I called because now they're parking with the tail hitch of the truck hanging out into the driveway when I leave for work in the morning. Very dangerous. I can't see left or right to exit my drive safely. Not my problem, not my fault. So I called the police, 911. We're supposed to call 911 whether it's non-emergency or not. So I did because I got to be bad cop. I got to be the bad neighbor. And so I waited, or a couple days later I noticed that, and I'm not stupid, I know these are violations. It's been the same violations for over 25 years. And nothing was tagged. And so I called back and again, a couple days later, and she said that the police officer came out and found no violations. We're talking 2 vehicles, non-operable, no license, tags, and the trailer is parked up backwards against the box truck so that you can't see that there's no plates. But the police officer said there were no violations. No violations. Clearly violations. And the other one needs to be parked at least 5 feet on each side of the driveway. So I called back and they were like, well, I can't speak for why the other officer didn't find anything wrong because there's clear violations. So the police officer tagged the vehicles this time. And within just 7 days of them being towed, they move them back onto what would be half considered city property. And there it sits off the street. Nothing's been done.
Thank you, Mr. Thatcher. I'll be sure that someone follows up with you. It will likely be Monday.
Of course it will be.
That's all I have, Mayor.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we had to fill this out.
Yes, ma'am, if you could just come forward and state your name and,
My name is Holly Stitt. I live at 228 South State Street, across from the VA golf course. I have a lot of concerns with my neighbor. I've had issues for the last several years where they're continuously bringing in garbage from other places. It is a problem that has been happening. I've worked with my alderman quite a bit. She's been fantastic, but it doesn't get resolved. The neighbor is still there. She is not mentally stable. She has come at my husband with a box cutter and a pair of scissors before. We've tried to help her, and it's just frankly not safe. There are a lot of problems with health hazards where I've had the neighbor or other people urinating and defecating in the yard. So I smell all of that when I come into my backyard. Trash and things that are very unsafe all over the back where small children, I have seen them playing in things that they could very seriously be injured. And just recently, November 3rd, my dog was attacked in my own yard by two dogs coming in because the neighbor's fence is not complete around her house. And so dogs were in to the side of the yard where my fence attacked my dog, had my dog pulled through the fence, and I had to pay $1,200 to have my animal seen. And it's just frankly very upsetting, and it's not safe. Now there are more homeless people moving in. There have been times where a pseudo dog house has been built in the back out of plywood where people were living. She at random times will scream profanities outside of my window. I can't even be comfortable in my own home, and my husband is very concerned with my safety because he works in the evenings and I'm there by myself, whereas just tonight when I was about to leave, someone going over to her home was walking down the alley yelling profanities at nothing and no one. The police were there just not too long ago because more homeless people had taken over a garage that had been vacated recently, and the owners found that there were homeless people living in their garage, and the police had to come and remove them but couldn't do anything about what's going on next door. I pay my taxes. I try to take care of my area, and yet I'm, like hit with a fine if I don't pull my trash can up, but I live next door to a complete dump. It doesn't make sense, and it's very upsetting that I don't believe any of you would live next to it. If you had to, something would be done, and I think something should be done. Thank you.
thank you, Mrs. Stitt. 228 South State Street.
Ma'am, could you please go ahead and fill out a card and bring it up at your convenience?
South State.
And can I
Mrs.
just,
Stitt, we will follow up with you. It will likely be Monday. And I say likely Monday because a lot of folks have taken tomorrow off, so I don't want to give you an unrealistic expectation.
and can I just state, we are working on this. We are still working on it. And I know it's hard, and I've seen it, and it's like, it's awful.
It's
So-
a hoarding situation.
I have pictures.
I have showed it to him, yes, so.
So it's something that we've actively discussing and working on in our Problem Properties Committee. Unfortunately, property issues are one of the things that take the longest to rectify because bad people have the same rights as good people.
They have more.
Seems like it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? I would like to just acknowledge our former city planner, Natasha Elliott. It's good to see you, and we're excited about the project. Oh, Bishop Elliott, it's good to see you as well. At this time, you have before you 9A, a zoning ordinance, amending the zoning ordinance and accompanying map for petitioner Tabernacle of Praise, ZP number 292. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. The reason I recognize Mrs. Elliott and Miss Elliott and Bishop Elliott is because it's their church where they're doing this. A lot of you know that although we have an amazing Danville mass transit system, they only have limited hours in the late evening and weekends. We don't offer transportation on Sundays. And so I'm excited to see that you all are working to provide people transportation. If folks want to work, we want to give them every opportunity to do so. Does anyone have the petitioners are here. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Just a question.
Yes, Alderman Cooper.
The B3, why the B3?
That was the only option to allow this use without also spot zoning as well.
Is this a special use B3 or no, it's going to stay B3?
No, it's going to stay, and we did discuss with the petitioner and at the commission meeting. Now, this is on their goodwill, but possibly placing some deed restrictions because the church, it's in their best interest, putting words in their mouths to restrict the uses that could happen in the future.
Well, that could happen's the concern I have.
That's it. Yep.
I mean, that B3 allows for alcohol, doesn't it?
Yeah, B3 and B2.
Because liquor stores have to have the B3.
Yeah, B3, B2, and B4. Yep.
See, so, I mean,
We have, just so you'll know, we have about a dozen people on our waiting list for a packaged liquor license.
I understand that, but I mean, if they sell it or anything, it could be eventually a liquor store at that area with that B3 if one was open, the right scenario was played out.
We have,
I mean,
it could be, but we
right.
have, again, we have about a dozen entities on our waiting list for packaged liquor licenses, and I think the last one that we gave out was more than a decade ago.
But what would be the difference between a B3 and a B2, I guess? I mean,
In terms of liquor or just uses in general?
usage for a B2, would that be appropriate or not?
No, B3 is it on our table of uses.
Well, I'll support it, but I guess that's a concern of mine.
It's valid. Yeah, we'll be, hopefully in the future, if I'm here or not, hopefully the church stays in touch with the city of Danville. There are proactive measures that I would recommend any city staff to take if the church were to sell. Hopefully notification would be made to the city of Danville so those measures can be taken to protect the surrounding areas.
I've known Bishop Elliott my entire life, and I wouldn't expect anything but the utmost integrity because that's how they've always lived. Any other further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. We also have item 10, approval of the payrolls for November 9th and 17th of 2023. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Alderman York,
Yeah.
Cooper,
Yes.
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. Also have before you the vouchers payable of November 14th and 21st, 2023. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate?
I have one question, and I
Vice
think
Mayor.
I know the answer to it. So there's a 25,000 to the Vermilion County Mental Health Board, and I know that I saw that that's from Fund 605, which is the opioid settlement fund. So is this like pass-through money that we received as a result of the big settlement? I think that came before us.
Yes.
some
It
time ago.
did. So this is for the Ross Council, to support the Ross Council with, that you all approved, with Vermilion County, us paying 25% and the county paying the 75%.
Okay, that's my only question.
Very good, thank you. Any further questions or debate? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Poor to do the heavy lifting. Chairman Poor, our Public Works Committee report.
Thank you, Mayor. 12A is an ordinance approving the purchase of real estate at 517 Chandler. Move to dispense with reading and ask for your approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Alderman Cooper.
What's the purpose of 517 Chandler?
So it's in an area, it's nearby our William Street realignment project. It's not directly impacted by it, but it adjoins many other vacant lots that the city already owns there. So while we don't have we know exactly what that's going to be, it's working towards a piece of property that can be redeveloped into something better someday. So really that's the reason we've kind of identified that as an area for a little bit more land assembly when the opportunity presents itself, and can only see it going likely up in price if it were to sell to another landlord, and we had to try to acquire it at a future time. So,
Well, I guess I'm not familiar with your William Street alignment project,
Yeah,
so I'll have to get with you on that.
yeah, we can't. Basically, that William Street takes a jog there at Harmon. It kind of there's a couple of flashing lights. It's a project that's been in the works since 2019. It was delayed significantly delayed, in working with Kirchner to relocate them to a new facility. So if you know where Kirchner's building is now, it basically takes it from a kind of straight, it makes it a curve. And there are some significant land impacts there for a couple blocks to get that project done and do it well. But anyway, that's the gist of the project, but I'm happy to share with you where we're at. We would expect that to go to construction in roughly 2025.
So what's the goal of doing William Street, I guess?
The goal of William Street, one, it's just the condition of the roadway is pretty horrible. It's a safety issue there at that jog. When the Carl redevelopment was, underway, basically one of the representatives from OSF came to the city and expressed concern that if Logan was closed, that would impact their ambulance response times and things like that. And they expressed that if we were to go forward with this project, that would ease concerns and it would make for a more direct route. So really that's the same time this project kicked off.
You try and eliminate that curve there, I guess?
Well, we're actually going to put a curve, but get rid of a jog. So you won't have to it won't be too hard 90s. It'll be a smooth, curve, no stops or anything like that. So.
Similar to what you've done on Madison to Logan?
Yeah, a little bit like that, but it'd be like
less of a
double S curve. Yeah, exactly. So.
Did we have this place appraised?
This one we did not. We compared the value it was listed on the market, so it was posted for sale. The price asked was very comparable to the assessed valuation from the tax assessor, and we did not have it appraised just because of a timeliness issue. There were multiple other people waiting to see it and investors wanting to get in it. So we would not have gotten it basically if we didn't say we wanted it then.
Any further discussion or debate?
Yeah.
Yes, Alderman.
It's not a blight house. It wasn't on demolition then?
It's not in great condition, but it's not one that we would say demolish right this moment.
Yeah, there's only 3 houses in that entire block that I would say don't need condemned. There are many others that are condemned likely and are occupied, and there are things in the works with those. So we're trying to get a whole area where we can do something with it and move it towards the good. So.
Okay. Chairman Fuller.
And this one's north of where we bought the property that used to have the cab company there. Remember that? I think you were on council then. A little north of Williams, where the jog was.
This is south of Williams, actually. So it's south of Williams, where the church was demolished.
Okay, yeah.
It's the second property south of where the church was.
Okay, I was off. But we did buy that one north of that.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we've bought several in this area. Many of them through tax trustee and other stuff.
Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
No objection, like take 12B and 12C together. They're both ordinance dealing with the purchase of property. 1B is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of real property from Vermillion County trustee, prior listings. C is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of real property from Vermillion County trustee, new listings. Again, no objection, I dispense with reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Just to remind everyone, what we're trying to avoid is some of the problems like Mr. and Mrs. Stitt are having in their home. What's happened is a lot of times people buy these houses from the VCT, they put nothing in them. People are living in squalor, then our inspectors have to get involved, our police have to get involved, Administrator Finch has to get involved, helping people find reasonable housing. We literally had a young couple and a newborn baby living in the garage of a house that they bought from the tax trustee with a hole the size of a small minivan in the roof. And so essentially the strategy is to get all of the properties, all of the actual structures off of the Vermillion County trustee list and buy those so that they can be eventually demolished. If we do that now, then it saves us a lot of money later in terms of staff time and energy, but also if they have a renter in it, then we have to pay relocation costs. And also if they have a renter in it, then they have lost income and we end up paying a lot more for something that we could get for $850. There are also lots on here. Most of the lots are in areas where we either hope to do projects, they're close to adjoining things, or they're in floodplains. We don't want people building down in the floodplains anywhere because we saw with the Moore addition how that happened. They won't even give those people flood insurance anymore. So essentially this is a way for us to help protect our neighborhoods and protect our people. And although it's a substantial amount in some, $850 is a small cost to pay compared to what it takes us if there are people living there and the human issues that it creates. Mrs. Pickering.
And we're also maintaining these lots too. And even though we don't, it's VCT property, correct?
Yes, we are already maintaining these lots because the county nor the trustee mows or maintains them. So these are already lots that we're already taking care of. Yes, Alderman Cooper.
And do you usually use the sanitary sewer fund to help pay for this?
If we're using the sanitary sewer fund or a specific fund, then that's somewhere where we intend to do a project with the sewer, like relocate or.
Yeah, and basically we would either have a future sewer project planned there, or we have sewer issues that this would improve access to our system at. The other ones would be if it's floodplain, because it's the storm and sanitary sewer fund, we would be looking at the flood plain management side of that, and more from the stormwater side. So that's generally where you'll see Fund 402 or the Storm and Sanitary Sewer Fund come into play.
Well, the sewer fund's used on both purchases here.
Correct. Yeah, it's specific to each lot. So like each lot, basically each list, whether it's old ones, we are looking at a group of, 5 or 6 of us. We go through the entirety of all the trustee list, and we identify which parcels are of use and which ones aren't. And, we sit in a room and argue over whether or not it's worth it, and identify what funding source makes sense for each of these lots. So it's on a lot by lot basis that the fund is allocated. So the spreadsheet you see, there's a fund allocated to each purchase, and then it's got a total at the bottom for, each one.
Right.
So, yeah. And so there may be times where we come and we don't have any Fund 402. There's just a lot on this one where, there's significant Fund 402 work, so.
Okay, as I understand the other 2 funds, the sanitary is questionable.
Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Butler.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, did I hear you say that the county owns these lots and these houses, but yet we have to cut the grass?
Well, so technically, that's a technical question. I have learned that every property is owned by someone. And usually most of these properties are still owned by the individual who didn't pay the taxes, whether it be for the last 3 years or the last 20 years. Often what's happened is the person is deceased, or they've moved, or they simply don't have the resources to care for them, so they just let them go and let them go back. And if no one else ever pays those tax prices, or they never buy it off of the trustee, then they just kind of stay in limbo. But the county is the one who is responsible for selling those properties through the sheriff's sale. And as a municipality, we, by state statute, have a right to request any of those properties off of the list as the city of Danville. So this is basically our way to be proactive. And we've gone round and round about it. Our attorneys have gone round and round about it. And essentially, because they're owned by someone, not the county doesn't have the responsibility to maintain them. So there used to be a time, Mr. Butler, when we did not maintain them. And I'm sure your neighbors, I got lots of calls from neighbors, especially over on Kimball Street and others that said, College Street, and said, why aren't you doing something about this? And I thought hard as an alderman for us to start mowing those, even if it's not our responsibility, because of quality of life for our people. And then one year, they decided, oh, we're not going to do that. And I'm telling you, the alderman got, and I was still an alderman at that time, got more calls than you can imagine because of tall grass and craziness that was going on. So the bottom line is, unfortunately, if we don't do something to help protect our people, then no one does in those circumstances.
You seem like we should have a conversation with the county. We cutting them.
We've had
and so now we buying them from.
Well, so what happens
So I
is,
don't understand that scenario.
so we've had multiple conversations with them, including having attorneys involved, and the bottom line is they're not lawfully responsible for them. Their only responsibility is to try to sell them. Then if they sell them, what happens is each taxing body gets a portion of their money. So when we pay $850 for these lots, 20% of it, let's say approximately 20% of your property taxes is the city of Danville, goes to the city of Danville. So then we would get, of that $850, $170, is my math right, back?
Yes.
Pardon?
Around 11%, about $86.
Okay,
$86.
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, because whatever's collected is redistributed at the same tax rate that's on your tax bill. So whatever that, because if you add all your tax rates up on your bill, that equals 1.00, 100%. So it's just redistributed that same way. It's held until the next year's tax sale distributions. Better than $0.
It's something that we're not happy about at all, Mr. Butler. As an alderman, I thought, as a mayor, I thought, and our council has looked into it. And right now, if I died and no one paid the taxes on my house for 3 years, somebody would, because it's finally a nice house after decades of work. But if nobody paid the taxes, it would just go to the tax trustee. If it wasn't picked up at the auction, it would still just sit there and rot. And if the city didn't cut the grass, then nobody would cut the grass, and then the neighbors would have.
And that's
Mayor.
I was going to say, and that's exactly what's happening on my block. There's a house on my block right now that hasn't had the grass cut in probably 3 years because the gentleman who lived there passed away and he had no heirs.
I would like to add to that, Mayor. 3 houses and places around my house have never been cut or hadn't been cut in the last year. And the city has come out last week and cut them. And I was amazed, and I'm pleased at it. And I think that should be a policy of us.
Thank you. And in those situations, Alderman, and Vice Mayor, if you have a lot that's not getting the attention it needs, then contact Public Works, and they'll make sure that we'll follow up on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Vice Chairman.
You look at this situation, this is something that none of us really want to do. We don't want to buy 200 lots. We don't want to spend the money it's going to cost. We don't want to spend the time and effort the staff's going to be doing for years to come to fix these things. But what do we hear more than anything else for how to improve the city of Danville? It's the structures, the vacant lots. We made an incredible effort in the last couple of years tearing down, I remember, 150.
We're close to 400
400 homes. and this will be a couple of hundred more lots. So, yeah, it's something that city council shouldn't have to do, but we're in the situation now where if you really want things to look better around town, this is gonna be one of the ways to do it, and I think we should be excited about the idea that we're doing it. Hopefully it works as well as we think it will.
Yes, Vice Chairman.
And also, after we acquire them, we can have the lot sales and they can be sold to the neighbors for $99. So that would put them back on the tax.
Which we've actually sold 150 or so lots in the last 2 years or so. And people are using them to build garages, they're using them to put pools on them, to make playgrounds for their kids. So two things happen. Then we no longer have to take care of the property. The neighbor get to increase their property to do whatever they want with it. And then it also goes back to onto the tax rolls, which is good for everyone. So then we can reap money back from it. Any further discussion or debate?
I think the council had his hand up.
Oh, I think we addressed your,
Oh.
thank you, Alderman. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Strebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12D is a resolution approving professional services and budget amendment for the downtown parking study. Move Spencer and ask for your approval.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
Of course. Why are we doing this? I mean, 35,000, are we getting a lot of complaints about parking downtown or?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, very much so. So it's doing a few things. So first of all, we have our current conditions of just the current operations of how we're operating. So just a long story. I think when the mayor first took over, we weren't necessarily enforcing parking downtown, although we did have an ordinance, got a lot of complaints about that. So then we do have an ordinance for 2-hour parking, so we decided we would start enforcing. Now I think things have changed and business has picked up a lot, so now there's some struggle there quite a bit. So on top of that, with the future planning for downtown parking, so one, I guess we're looking at what operations do we need to have? What's the optimal way? Is it going back to parking meters? Is it pay by spot and having kiosks? Is it something completely different that we don't typically do? Also, the uses of current lots. So all the downtown lots and how they're being used currently, is that the best use for them? Should we redistribute where things, where rented spaces are versus open parking? The second thing that we're doing is really assessing where we're at with future growth with downtown. If we have businesses starting to come in, are we set up to help those businesses thrive, or because we have parking layout the way we do, are we going to be limiting their business from that? So this company has done the assessment of the parking garage already. They kind of have an expertise in parking modeling per se. So they're going to go through and do that as well. So those are kind of the two things, looking at adequacy and demand, and then, current operations, and then also future parking for businesses downtown. What does that look like? So it's kind of doing all that.
So I guess the businesses of downtown can't get together and come up with some type of plan on their own, or?
So what this company does is they do like modeling. So they come down, they'll do traffic counts, they'll kind of watch what are the peak hours, all of that, what's parking look like in peak flow, and then they'll do modeling for that and be able to tell us, hey, this is the most optimal way of monitoring parking. This is the most optimal way of distributing where paid park. These are the lots that should be paid parking. These are the lots that should be open parking. These are the lots that should be, long-term rental type parking for, business owners, that type of thing.
But we don't have a group that can't do that on their own. I mean,
internally?
Right. I mean,
we have
$35,000.
We have plenty of staff with capabilities. We have negative staff with time. So that's so this would be something that we could learn and would teach ourselves, but we're focusing our time on the things that we know how to do very well and productively for the citizens. I will say something I'd like to add is this is really important just for a decision about infrastructure downtown. We're rebuilding roads. We need to know like where we need parking, where we don't, where do we have to invest money? The parking garage alone needs about $2 million worth of work. So we're trying to decide are we rebuilding the parking garage? Are we keeping the parking garage and fixing it? Are we tearing it down? Are we doing something else? And we need to do a really good job of this and informing ourselves on like the overall downtown parking needs, future needs before we make that decision. So really that project was feeding into this. And then all the issues we've had, it is an ongoing issue with parking downtown. It's probably one of our most frequent complaints. And it's just something that, we think that we could do better and we're not doing very efficiently. So I totally get, this is something like between engineering and planning, this is something that could be done if we had staff, if we had enough staff to do it. And we could, but it would be at the expense of other grant management and chasing money and doing other projects. So you're right. We do have the expertise to do it and can figure it out, but this isn't the one that's going to pay back at the same level as the other projects.
Yeah, and I guess that's a concern of mine. Are we paying $35,000? Are we going to get the payback to justify this expense?
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know that you'll get it.
I think if nothing else from the constituent concerns, because I get complaints about parking tickets all the time. So when I first took over as mayor, probably about 4 or 5 business owners called me persistently every week, some of them multiple times in a week, saying, Mayor, people are parked downtown in front of my business all day, most of them going to the courthouse, or sometimes other business owners, because they wanted to keep things open in front of their store, were going and parking in front of other business owners' buildings. So then there was no place for people to park. They would call me and say, we're losing business because people are parked out in front of our business all day. Can you do something about it? So I called Director Carpenter. I said, Director, this is your realm. What can we do? I don't know. And he said, we have an ordinance on books that says 2-hour parking. We can enforce that. So we started enforcing it. The businesses were very happy. People were not happy because they started getting tickets, right? Fast forward 2.5 years, it's a very different picture. We have a lot more shops and things going on downtown, so you could spend a half a day to a day downtown doing various activities, so people need to park for more than 2 hours. But now they're coming downtown to have a good time, and they're getting a ticket, And so we've got to figure out, how do we better assess this parking situation so that it's good for all of our business owners downtown and for our constituents, And like Sam said, we could absolutely do it in-house, but it's not like when you were here before and we had 6 or 7 engineers and 4 planners. We've got 1.5 planners and 3 or 4 engineers right now. So we could either spend time on something like this, which would take a lot of time, but we wouldn't get their money's worth of what we're paying them, or we could pay somebody else $35,000 to come in and address that for us, Any further discussion or debate?
How safe is the parking garage as far as structure?
It's safe, but there are issues that if not addressed in the next couple of years, it would become unsafe.
The ramp is the unsafe portion, and it's completely closed and blocked off right now. So in order to, that's really where the structural issue is. The rest of it is function and update and coming up to code. Like, we don't have a working elevator, so we're not in compliance with code, for that. So numerous other things.
Well, I know my wife and daughter thinks it's unsafe physically to park in the garage. They won't park there anymore.
It's not unsafe, but I can understand why they think that, since the outer ramp is blocked off.
That's just what they say.
Yes, sir.
I personally have never been in it.
All right. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Wands?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Poor?
Yes.
Streebing? Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
No.
Butler?
Yes.
11 yes.
11 yes, the motion carries.
12E is a resolution approving a professional service agreement for the Clarence and Kinney Street sanitary sewer improvements. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
We do F.
We did E, this is E.
This is E.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pashard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Poor?
Yes.
Streebing? Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Wilson? Wands?
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12F is a resolution approving an easement for underground transmission of signals. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
So
Second.
moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
Yeah, what are we doing here? I mean, it's probably simple, but
Yeah, we're granting an easement to AT&T to run fiber optic lines from Fairchild Street to the Garfield Park bathhouse, basically, across some lots that we own.
Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Poor?
Yes.
Streebing? Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Wilson? Wands?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12G is a resolution amending the contract for bid number 719, the 2023 crack ceiling. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Vice Chairman Iverson?
Yes.
Chairman Poor?
Yes.
Alderman Streebing? Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Wilson? Wands?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12H is a resolution amending the fiscal year 23-24 Danville Area Transportation Study Fund 116 budget. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
Okay, we've lost all our funds for DATS. Is this what this is saying?
This will be the last year for DATS. We did not anticipate having grant funds for this year, and as such, we did not budget for grant funds this year. However, we were lucky enough to receive them and get one more year. So this is basically creating the budget for us to spend out of.
Creating it, so next year, will there be a fund established for it or not? Apparently not.
No, I mean, I don't know what the process is if you close a fund, but there will be no money in it. So
It's in the budget this year, just to show that it's budgeted for zero.
Right, okay.
Next year it won't be in there.
Just because of the loss of population?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion or debate?
What is,
call.
yeah, what is our population here in Danville now?
29,204.
Has it been going up in the last several months, or we're at a standstill?
I don't know. I can tell you I've recently met people who have moved here from Washington State, Oregon State, Florida, and Texas. So I would like to think we're going in the right direction, but I don't know how many folks have left us either in that same time.
When will the next census be taken from here?
In 2030. Yes, sir. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Chairman Poor?
Yes.
Streebing? Pickering?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
York?
Yes.
Cooper?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Wilson? Wands?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12I is a resolution approving demolition and additional site work at 26 Nicholas. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Streebing? Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12J is a resolution authorizing a grant application to the U.S. EPA for the Brownfield Assessment Coalition Grant. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12K is a resolution approving an agreement for environmental services for the U.S. EPA site cleanup grant, bid number 732. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streaming, Pickering,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12L is a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the city of Danville and the village of Tilton for the expansion of the Vermillion County Enterprise Zone. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
This an annual thing or new?
No.
No, this is completely new. So a while back, Mayor of Tilton approached us about the possibility of expanding the enterprise zone in Tilton. And we said we would be happy. So Danville controls the enterprise zone. We're the administrator for the enterprise zone for Vermillion County. And so they came to us with an request to expand there. And we said we would be happy to. However, we can't, allow you to expand and compete with us if you don't follow the same codes that we do. So this requires them to follow the same codes that we do, and they've already approved that at the village level. And they've also entered into an agreement with Fairgram, who does a lot of the work for us, to do their assessments in the enterprise zone.
Codes as far as permitting and all that, like we do, about everything we do, they've
Building,
got to follow.
primarily building codes. That's all of it, but the building codes especially, yes. Alderman Butler.
Is that a certain distance in Tilton, or is that just a half a mile into Tilton?
We don't have a specific legal description for what they're proposing as the expansion at this time. This is just the City of Danville City Council commitment to formulating that legal description. We suspect it will encompass most of their main thoroughfares.
And I guess just to,
So when you say main thoroughfare, so we go out Route 1 and
Yeah, and
how far do we go as far as across the bridge to?
we'll have, I don't even want to take a wild guess at it because we and you as a city council will have plenty of opportunity to review their proposal for expansion.
Yeah, so they will be, basically this is saying, yes, we will work with you to expand it. The exact limits of that expansion are not identified yet. We will be, the city and Tilton will be working with their consultant to both identify their expansion as well as areas that we want to modify our boundaries. So they've offered to pay the consultant to go through the process, and we benefit from that as well.
Vice Chairman Iverson.
That answered my question. That's exactly what I wanted to know.
Very good. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Teague,
Yes.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streaming, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
If there's no objection, I'd like to take items 12M through Q together. They all deal with purchasing equipment. M is a resolution approving the purchase of a light-duty code enforcement truck. N is approving a budget amendment and purchase of 2 public works vehicles. O is approving the purchase of a medium-duty engineering truck. P is approving the purchase of a heavy-duty sewers truck, and Q is a resolution approving the purchase of a parts 1-ton dump truck. If there's no objection, I'd like to take M through Q together, dispense with reading, and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Orr,
Yes.
Streaming, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
12R is items of information. We do have some.
Yeah, so we've had an unfortunate incident this weekend that I have to bring to your guys' attention per purchasing policy. Just some emergency work that's had to be done. You guys might have seen over the weekend down along South Gilbert between Steak and Shake and Long John Silver's. We've had some work going on there. That particular sewer line is one of the Danville Sanitary District lines that has recently come into our possession. We had a blockage there a couple of weeks ago. The guys really worked to clean the line out. We got it cleaned out. However, it seems that that line was in pretty bad shape. It had been televised previously, a year prior, and was marked as a pretty rough line. So this weekend on Thursday night, we got a call that the line was collapsed basically and was going to end up needing to be dug up. So the problem is it's 20 foot deep, which is an extremely expensive dig. So we had a contractor come in on emergency. They started Friday morning, made the repair. All was good. I got a phone call. Hey, the line is repaired. However, hey, there was a lot in the line, so the guys are going to clean it out. They went to clean it out. About 15 feet away, another collapse happened while they were cleaning. So the line is actually made of concrete, and because of the age of the line's deteriorating. The contractor commented on just how thin the wall of the line was and basically said you could take your fingertips and like chip away the concrete with your fingertips and find dirt at any point in the whole line. So we've made another repair. We have not allowed our guys to even put the Vactor hose in it. We said, hey, if the line's flowing, don't touch it until we get out here with a liner. So this is an extremely bad issue, and this line is the same age and the same material as pipe segments that are upstream and downstream from it as well. So we have some emergency lining that needs to be done. We came in on Monday morning, and we actually had to bypass pump over the weekend because the line was fully collapsed again. We came in over the weekend to do that. Monday morning, spoke with engineering, and I think Sam has a little bit further information as far as lining goes.
Yeah, so we've reached out to a lining contractor that does a lot of the work for us here locally, identified the limits. We actually, as part of this, when we've assessed 20% of the city's sanitary sewer system, this was actually part of that area. It makes sense. This was identified as medium to high priority at a minimum to line. So this is actually part of a future project. It's just choosing to collapse earlier than what we want it to. So we are proposing to line about 1,200 feet of sanitary sewer to basically get rid of all the high risk, very expensive dig up areas. This would go like, it goes right through Steak and Shake's drive through, right next to Quick Wash, goes right by, goodness, what else goes through Aldi's parking lot right in front of their front door. Those locations where it'd be extremely expensive and disruptive to dig up if we have a failure. So we're proposing to go ahead as an emergency and get those done rather than waiting, taking our chances with a couple years of a wait. And we do have an estimate of about, not including the cost to repair so far, estimate of approximately $115,000 to do the lining work on that and the manhole rehabilitations as well, because they're nearly crumbling as well. So anyway, you can see that comes out to, I don't know, about $100 a foot for like a mobilize this and get it going versus, we're going to pay $20,000 or I don't know what
it'll be more than that.
It'll be $20,000 for what we did to fix 5 feet, right? So we're trying to intervene and save ourselves from a whole bunch more of those.
So if we have another backup, so basically, if we put the Vactor hose in the line and run the line and really try to clean out a plug or a clog, it causes damage, more and more and more damage every time we do it. And so we really are trying to avoid even having to clean the lines if we can at all
Yeah,
possible.
it becomes a concrete pipe in a sewer situation. You know, if the gases deteriorate the concrete, bacteria breaks it down, and it becomes almost more like a paste that you can literally just scrape off. So this is deteriorated enough that it's ready. We want to intervene now. So.
Yeah, how will this affect the traffic in that area?
It should not, unless things go poorly. So generally, the contractors will have large pieces of equipment there. It's basically an old alley, right? That's become parking lots and other stuff like that. You should not be affected, other than, they might have to divert some people on roads temporarily, but each segment of line that's maybe 400 or 500 feet long will take a couple hours to line, and then they'll move on to the next one. So it's pretty minimally disruptive compared to digging it all up.
Alderman Cooper.
You said it was recently acquired. Explain that.
So we did not we did not buy these. The Danville Sanitary District had a large collection or basically they owned quite a few collection system lines. And this was probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I guess, in the interest of cleaning up ownership and cleaning up government administration, in Danville, we agreed to take these lines on. It would have been there's a lot of other, I'm just going to refrain on all the other stuff around that story.
Yeah, you're fine.
The big part that I can tell you also is that this they had lines that went to a lot of our neighborhoods, like South Danville, like the Heights and things like that. We were collecting the revenue from them, and they were not. So they were going to begin collecting the revenue for them, and then 20% of our people we would not have been taking care of 20% of our people. They would have been taking care of them, and we couldn't guarantee any kind of response time, any kind of capacity to get help in the needed time. So that's the diplomatic way I can say all of that. Vice Mayor Teague.
So in the assessment that was done recently, have we identified other lines that are made of concrete or the same material that might be possibly ready to collapse, just like this line just did? Because if it's let me ask this before you answer that question: is medium to high the highest assessment that we had, or do we have some that are worse than this?
Oh, there's some that are worse. I think that I was looking.
There's some that are brick, Vice Mayor, that are made of brick.
Yeah, there's some that are, and actually the brick will hold up better than the concrete, probably.
That's true.
But it really varies. So they're assessing, we have PVC pipes and clay pipes and concrete pipes and brick pipes and all these different things. It's not necessarily just the pipe type that's driving that. It's the perceived condition, of that pipe type from the video inspection. So there's always a chance that like a low to medium priority thing collapses just as well. Stuff happens all the time. I believe our approach, our $25 million worth of projects or whatever that we've identified addresses the medium, high, and the high. It doesn't even address the ones that are like right below this. So no, we're not out of the woods. So that's why we don't really have the option. We've got to keep pushing, and it's like a risk-based assessment. We make the best decision, and even if we make the best decision we can, and then the good one fails tomorrow, we want to be 80%. We want to be right 80 to 90% of the time, and we're not going to be right all the time.
Okay.
I have a question there. I didn't hear the cost. Was there a cost?
Yes.
So the estimate on the lining cost and the manhole rehabilitation, like cement lining the manholes that are in this area, because we like to address it all together. Total cost there is about $115,000, And then that does not include the cost to dig up and repair, which we were saying is likely in excess of 20,000. But we don't have the time and, that was all time and material. The repair work is also going to be time and material, but they've given us an estimate based on what they see preliminarily. So we would expect and for us to get this going now, they're hopeful they can be here in December to get all this lining work done on this segment.
So then will a resolution be coming before public services next week, or do we need to vote on this tonight?
So this is just basically because it's an emergency, our obligation is to inform you that it's going on because it's going to be in excess of $20,000 and would warrant council approval. Once we get through the project and we get final invoices, we will come back with a resolution spelling out what the totals were and then how it's funded, which we know will be through the sanitary sewer fund. So that will likely, I'm going to guess that's going to be in like December or January. And it may come as two different pieces because it's two different contractors. So.
This is all part of that Jefferson Street area redevelopment anyway, right?
It is. It was going to, like I said, it was going to be addressed. It's just made itself need to be addressed a little earlier. So.
Y'all got one more question there too. As far as the damage, how is this compared to the one that's on, what's that, Clay Street?
Yeah,
I mean,
the closed road is what you're talking about.
It sounds similar.
Yeah, the issue with that sewer is that it is in such poor condition that we cannot even line it. We literally can't get anything through it. So we have to completely reroute sewers, and the estimated cost of that is in excess of $1 million and affects approximately 2 houses at that. So that's just, it's on our list of projects, but there's really not a reasonably easy solution for that. So it's kind of in the backlog of projects that we have to get to and work through our stormwater master plan projects.
Anything else? Yeah, Mayor, that concludes our report.
Thank you, Chairman. Before we receive our Public Services Committee report, I'd be remiss. We also have 2 of our finance staff team members with us here tonight, our Deputy Comptroller, Kristen Landis, and our Grants Manager, Kaylee Sanchez. And they've done a lot of good work for us. Without these ladies, we wouldn't have some of the grants that we have, and we also would not be getting a lot of the reconciliations and stuff processed as quickly as we are. So thank you, ladies, for your work. At this time, we'll receive our Public Services Committee report. Vice Chairman Pickering.
Yes, under 13A1, we have the Treasury report from Treasurer Chris Herron.
Thank you. Good evening, Council and public. Treasury's report. The office attended the Illinois Public Pension Fund Association Conference in October. After that, we attended the regional stakeholder meeting for the Illinois Police Officers Pension Investment Fund. That's the IPOPIF. The first one is the overall encompasses both the firemen and the police. The second one was strictly the police. A little background information on this. The General Assembly passed a bill in 2019 for all 650 state police and fire funds to be consolidated into 2 statewide funds with only 1 financial manager for each. So what these conferences did, they basically were trying to explain why this happened, the history of these organizations, how they came about, and you can imagine that after the General Assembly passed this, there was quite a bit of confusion, quite a bit of frustration because basically $18 billion was taken away, maybe taken away isn't the right word, but it was distributed from financial managers locally to just 2 within the entire state. So I think one of the purposes for these conferences was to be very diplomatic and try to explain this procedure to everyone, and seemed like they did a pretty good job with that. But all in all, the fund's no longer allowed to use their own financial advisors, and they have no control over where they want to invest their money in. It is completely consolidated in the state. The office has also filed the annual Illinois Department of Insurance report for both the pensions. The office has been working with Lauterbach and Amann, giving them all financials and waiting on our actuarial reports and upcoming funding evaluations for both funds. The main purpose of this is being to determine the employer and employee contribution rates that will sufficiently fund both funds. On December 5th of this year, Lauterbach and Amann will be here to give the council a presentation on that report. On December 11th, the pension boards will vote to approve the tax levy. And then on December 19th, City Council will vote on the tax levy that was approved by the pension board. So I thought it'd just be, I didn't really realize how the whole process went, and I know a few of you are new, so I thought it'd be nice to just kind of outline what's going to be happening here in the next few meetings. About a month ago, the council approved Martin Hood to come into the treasurer's office to start working on getting the bank reconciliation caught up. And they're currently working on September of 22, with July and August of 22 still open, with a few items that are being researched before they are closed. And right now that concludes the report. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Treasurer Herron?
I have one question. You said the reconciliation, they're working up through September of 22?
Yes, ma'am, that's what they're working on right now.
And obviously I know there was a backlog in reconciliation, and you may not know the answer to this. I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this. What is the standard time frame or lag as it relates to bank reconciliations?
2 months.
Okay.
30 to 60 days.
Okay. I was just curious. Thank you. That's the only question I have.
Thank you.
And I know that the backlog is not that you inherited it. I just wanted to say that publicly.
I also just want to commend the treasurer, and I appreciate them getting things done in a timely manner. It's a nice change of pace.
Oh, actually, I do have one more question. Do we have an anticipated time frame for which we would be caught up into normal standard?
I believe when we reached out to Martin Hood, our hope was the end of the year. I think we can safely say that's not going to happen. I would hate to guess what that's going to be, but we're all working diligently to try to get it done as quickly as possible. I would hope it would be done by the first quarter.
Okay.
And we will meet here next Tuesday, 11/28, at 6 p.m. here in the chambers. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. At this time, I would invite you, our comptroller, forward for a presentation on the budget.
Oh, take the pad down, okay, there you go.
Sorry, just waiting for the projector to warm up.
Audience, is my head in the way? Have you seen this? Okay.
It's not that big.
Chairman, no kidding. When I was in middle school, I had to borrow a helmet from the high school because I had such a good helmet.
All right, good evening. It's hard to believe this is my 4th budget presentation. I can't believe it. So we're going to be going through the fiscal year 2024-2025 draft budget. Last year was our first year where we added multi-year projections into our budget, so this does also include projections for 2025 and 2026 and 26 to 27. The budget was placed in your drop boxes before the meeting started. I dropped off a public display copy of that budget at the clerk's office this afternoon, and the draft budget will be uploaded to the city website tomorrow morning by a team member of mine. So you can review that from anywhere as long as you have access to the internet. So. We'll start off with the high level numbers. The general fund budget this year is expected to be $38,637,272. All of the other funds combined come to $40,304,584, which brings our total budget to $78,941,857. This overall budget is significantly less because last year we attributed the entire ARPA budget. We expect that to be fully encumbered or close to fully encumbered by the end of the fiscal year. So once that's encumbered, open POs will roll over into this year. If not, we'll just bring back a budget amendment resolution to take care of that. Once you subtract out interdepartmental transfers of $12,063,000 and some change, that brings the total net budget after transfers to $66,878,007. Some general fund tax revenue projection information. Currently, the total tax revenue is projected at $32,844,000. This does not include specific departmental revenue. These are our heavy hitter revenues like state income, home rule, PPRT, things of that nature. This is a 3.77% decrease to tax revenues from the prior year. This is largely attributed to 2 items. The first is the personal property replacement tax. The state over-distributed PPRT for the last 2 years, and now they're clawing it back, so that is going to be down. And then casino revenues are just updated based on actual receipts. Obviously, it wasn't open. We had to take a best guess. We were just a little high, so we have to bring that down. Yes, this is going down 3.77%, but last year it came up 14-point-something%, so not too bad. It's important to note the city receives admission and wagering tax from the casino. 80% of that is slated to go towards additional payments towards our total net pension obligation. The total general fund departmental revenue, so revenue we generate at our departmental levels, is $5,206,549. Contributions to pensions. So the actuarial reports that Treasurer Heron mentioned just a little bit ago. We got draft reports back today. They cannot issue final reports until our financial statements are finalized, but we think, we're pretty close. And so I was able to plug those into here and to the levy draft literally this morning. So for fire, the actuarial recommendation to contribute to the fire pension to achieve 100% funding by 2040 is $5,230,286. The levy, you'll see on your levy draft, we reduced that by what we anticipate to collect in our public safety pension fee, and we reduce that by additional contributions to come from the general fund, i.e. that casino tax and other dedicated revenue streams, which equals our levy request. Same formula for the police. The Lauterbach and Amen recommends that we contribute $4,696,507 to achieve 100% funding by 2040, minus the public safety pension fee, minus the general fund contribution. Enterprise funds, just some high-level numbers. Harrison Park, total budget, $605,700. The municipal pool fund, which was added last year during the budget, $351,262. Storm and sanitary sewer, $7.8 million. Solid waste, $3.3 million. Total enterprise funds, $12,189,000. And then you can see what the totals were for fiscal year '24. The budget, that's this year, and fiscal year '23 last year. New funds. So these are actually not in this first draft. They will be in the draft I roll out December 5th. I'm still waiting for more oh man, I have a typo. That's sad. I'm waiting on more information from the grant agreements before I wanted to put the fund in there. So you'll see those in 2 weeks. Personnel and staffing related issues. So the city is requesting multiple new positions in this budget. They're listed here. The first is the city arborist and a laborer. Both of those would be tied to the USDA forestry grant that we just applied for. I believe the original request was for $5 million and we've been awarded 1 point something million. That's supposed to cover 5 years. So we have a lot of tree problems in the city, so that would address that. 2 building maintenance workers, those would fall under the Parks and Public Property Division. We have a lot of backlogged maintenance, which was brought to light by a recent Brightly assessment. I assume Brightly is going to be coming and talking about that here soon. But these 2 laborers would be completely dedicated to various projects and maintenance around city buildings. A city plumber, which would also be in the same division, Parks and Public Property. We currently hire out a lot of plumbing needs, specifically opening and closing our parks every year, winterizing. This position, albeit in addition to the budget, would have back-end savings of we're not hiring that out or subcontracting. The 2 positions with the 2 asterisks, part of that salary burden will be shared with the municipal pool fund. Our pool has a lot of plumbing needs, and so part of that budget would come from 406. Wellness manager is a restored position at the city of Danville. They would run the pool in the summertime and have various recreation facilitating duties the rest of the year. 2 rental inspectors. These would belong in the environmental code enforcement division. They would be completely dedicated to inspecting rentals year-round. And then the last position is a rehabilitation specialist. The grant that Logan just notified you about last week or 2 weeks ago, the $1.4 million to do home repair projects, we would need someone to help facilitate all of those applications and contractor correspondence, remittance of documents and paperwork. That's what that person would be dedicated to doing.
And I would note that the city plumber position is actually a restoration as well. We used to have a city plumber when I first became an alderman and did for a number of years. We're spending $50,000 to $60,000 a year externally hiring folks to do it, and then we have to wait on their ability. So I don't know if any of you all have done any home contracting projects in a while. It takes forever to get someone. So if we have something that's pretty important, it might take us a while to get it, and then there's further damage caused by whatever it is leaking or, causing other problems.
So earlier this year, you were presented with a proposal from HUB Hub International to perform a compensation study for the city of Danville. We did get those results back on Friday, and so I spent the weekend plugging that information into the budget. Part of that study included a cost analysis of what it would cost to get everyone who is under the minimum of their pay range up to their minimum. So, they evaluate jobs, they go out and do a survey, they say, okay, based on market data and survey results, this position should be paid a minimum of this, a midpoint of this, or a maximum of this, to get all of our employees, which is 49% of our employees, from under their minimum, because we're paying them below market, to their minimum point. It was $650,000 and some change. So the following decision tree was applied with the information that we received. To start, we went in and confirmed the 23-24, so the current salary for all employees in the salary and benefit table. We then applied a 2% increase, unless otherwise indicated by the collective bargaining agreement. We then checked all the collective bargaining agreements to see for the ones that are open during 24-25, what did it say? We plugged in that rate if it was different than 2%. And then after that, we evaluated every job to see, okay, what would that rate base salary be? How does that compare to their range? If it's under, we brought it up to the minimum. In your salary and benefit table in the budget, every position that was changed outside of the collective bargaining or the 2% is highlighted in light blue. Just they're identified for you.
And Hub will be here with us next time to make an official presentation on all of this, on all of the findings.
At our next full council meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yep, and then I did just distribute their report about that compensation study.
Can I ask a question about this?
Yes.
Okay, are you saying we're gonna follow this hub thing, or you plugged in numbers to follow this hub thing?
Can I circle back to that? But I hear your question.
Okay.
I have a role here. All right. Commercial insurance, this was already approved by city council, so you're aware of this, but just to cover it, our total renewal for our commercial insurance came back at 9.36%. Our liability insurance increased by 10.71% and workers' comp 8.22%. You can see the breakdown individually there, 1.045 million for workers' comp, 898,000 for liability. IMRF stayed about the same. Last year we had an IMRF contribution rate of 2.98. That's the lowest it's been in many, many, many years. They raised it less than 1% to 3.69%. So we went ahead and plugged in 4% into the budget. Health insurance. So this is a big one this year. Our utilization was extremely high. Blue Cross came back at an initial proposal of 27%, I think it was. Us, along with our broker, negotiated with them to get that down to 19%, albeit no one's happy about that, but it's 8% better than it was. Blue Cross Blue Shield has recently started offering, and we thought it may be a good time to also roll out what's called a Blue Select plan. So the 19% increase was for our regular PPO and high deductible plan. This Blue Select is a more limited local network, so they're more selective about what doctors can be included in the state of Illinois. But if you were, because this was my question, if you're on vacation in Florida and I don't know, you get stung by a stingray at the beach and you need to go to the ER, out-of-state coverage is exactly the same as the traditional PPO. It's just more limited locally for Illinois residents. And they were able to offer the Blue Select plan for a 0% increase. So that is what's been offered this year. The way our open enrollment runs and insurance coverage runs, it runs calendar year. Our fiscal year is obviously not calendar year, so we have to make assumptions about what may happen to our health insurance rate from January 1 to April 30th of the next calendar year for our next fiscal year, so we put in a 10% assumption that it could go up. That's pretty standard for how we estimate that. This year is an outlier. I will say last year it was only a couple percent. The year before that it was stagnant, and I think the year before that it went down 10%. So our utilization did unfortunately warrant this increase. Because we don't have open enrollment information yet, that closes for our employees over the holiday weekend. Monday we're gonna come in and take all the information out of our open enrollment portal, and I will then apply it to the budget. What is currently plugged into the budget is all of the same elections that employees had last year. Last year, we did not have a Blue Select plan with a 0% increase. So what is currently in this budget is the 19% increase of the health insurance rates. I go into that to say, if you've already noticed in the levy draft, we currently have a deficit budget of $586,000 and some change. We believe that the majority, if not all of this, will be taken care of through the open enrollment process. Just being involved in the open enrollment meetings. I think the majority of our employees probably will go with this Blue Select plan. So although some are going up to 19%, some are going to stay exactly the same, we've already made some assumptions for this fiscal year to take care of that, and we think that we'll be okay. But I did not want to put any assumptions in there that oh, we're totally fine and we're balanced, and then it did not shake out that way, and then oh no, the budget's going back up and everyone's disappointed. So that's why I put the assumptions in that way. The capital improvement plan will be created again this year. I will bring that to you December 5th along with an updated budget draft with open enrollment information. It just didn't seem prudent to roll it out when we don't know if we're going to have what money we're going to have to work with. So I will bring that to you December 5th. Another unique budgetary item, a new line item was created in general city divisional budget for transfers from the general fund to the municipal pool fund. We're not sure. We think that it'll need a little general fund support this year. Okay, to circle back to your question of are we going with what the compensation study says? That decision is up to city council. What is plugged in though, and what the intent of this compensation study was, is to find out, are we paying market to our employees? They did the research, they did the survey. This is what the market says. I think that it's important for you to know what it would cost to pay all of our positions market. That is what's in the budget. Back to my closing slide, please give us your feedback. You know, I hope to bring a second draft budget, or I will bring a second draft budget December 5th, and then the following city council, we're supposed to vote on it, along with the levy, because the levy is due by state statute to the county clerk's office by the last Tuesday in December. It seems prudent to know what our budget's gonna be to base our levy off of to file for property tax. So if you have feedback, if you have questions, I'm open to set meetings. You can obviously email me and call me anytime, or mayor, email, call. If you know you have commentary, I would appreciate it if you didn't delay. My last 48 hours has been very crazy, just with how recently a lot of this stuff has come in. I'd rather not live like that again. And two, the sooner you give us your feedback, the more likely it will be represented in the next budget draft or the final draft. So, the question of will we go with it is up to you, but that is what's plugged in, and I do think the deficit is likely to be made up with open enrollment.
So the pay grade midpoint, is that what you're going, what's
minimum?
The minimum's what you get?
Yes.
Do you have the old figures? I mean, I'm sure there's some people getting 20-25% raises out of this, isn't there?
I don't know about percentages,
but I mean,
I think if you'd like to set a meeting, we could comb through more detail.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll meet with.
We had extensive conversations about this, but I like a lot of the new aldermen are unaware. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's more we wish we could do. All we can really afford at this time is getting people who are below their minimum to the minimum. There are other issues that I think we would like to address, but I'm not gonna make promises to anybody that I can't keep. So that's where we're at. And that's what's in the budget.
Vice Mayor Teague.
I have a question, not so much specifically about the overall budget, but about one specific line item or one specific position, and that is the position that's being added for the IDA grant. And my question is one person enough for that grant, given what you said last week, which is how aggressively we have to spend this money?
Yeah, I suspect so. It will be tight. A lot of our responsibility will be, and attention will quickly go that direction. I think it'll just be a stressful month. We do have our rehabilitation specialist as well in the office that can take on intake, and our community development admin as well. So, and I will chip in as well. So we'll have 4 individuals to do intake, and then probably 2 or 3 to do the upfront legwork for grant vetting, for lack of a better words. So yeah, 4 of us. Our new planner might chip in a little bit to help us out. So 5. I think we can make it with 1 extra hire.
Okay, thank you.
Logan, would you like to introduce our new planner?
Yeah, you did probably first enough.
Yeah, I can do that right now. How long have you been here? About 2 weeks now, Mumachu?
Yeah, this is my 3rd week.
3rd week. Mumachu Gurung. I'll actually let her introduce herself and give a short summary on your background.
So, hello everyone, I'm Chukwu. I moved from Oklahoma. This is my 4th week in the city and 3rd week with working with the city. I used to be Oklahoma City's Brownfields planner. I was working there for over 2 years. I got my master's in regional city planning from University of Oklahoma 2 years ago. Before that, I am originally from Nepal. I got an undergraduate degree in architecture, worked in reconstruction and rehabilitation of schools like after earthquake, and Logan hired me a month ago, I think, over a month ago, but yeah.
Yeah. We're really excited to have her. She did choose to move into the city of Danville. I know it was a really quick transition for her. Sam and I would like to think that we're forward thinking, but we're more of doers, so it's nice to have somebody in the office to slow us down.
What other preliminary questions or comments do you have? We'll, of course, discuss the budget at every one of our committee meetings between now and we've got almost 5 weeks to work through this process, but any other preliminary comments or questions?
Is this presentation in the Dropbox?
The presentation's not, the budget is, but I can put it there.
I can't find the budget in Dropbox either, but it's
It's on there. Yeah.
It's not on this.
it's not on
Yep.
ours. No, it's not. Try that.
Oh, no, tax levy. It's not-
Yeah.
it's not
It'll
budgeted
be
on tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be uploaded in the first thing.
I
in the
can
morning.
email it too.
Email it to you as well.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Sometimes we have an outstanding IT department. Sometimes the equipment doesn't participate. All right. Are there any items of information for the good of the cause? Seeing none, I apologize, but we do need to go into closed session. I would entertain a motion to go into closed session under Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss specific employees, under Section 2C2 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss salary schedules and collective bargaining matters, under Section 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss the purchase of real property, and under Section 2C6 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss setting the price for the sale of property. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Breakfast will be served.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate?
Sorry, Mayor, I couldn't hear who seconded.
Second.
Thank you.
Vice Chairman Pickering. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Alderman York,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yeah.
Butler,
Yes.
Wilson, Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Strebe, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes. We are adjourned to closed session. There will not be any action taken following closed session. In session.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Having satisfied the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Be safe. You're traveling.
Elevator gonna work this week?